Alright, today we got a 204R. This one happens to be in a Grand National, so we have to hope nobody has swapped anything out. The tranny code is correct, so hopefully the valve body and the governor code will be right. Otherwise we're going to have troubles making this thing, trying to find the parts to make this thing ship properly. 10 millimeter on our speedometer. Alright, already does not want to come out. Okay. Alright, put a little PB blast on it. Let that soak for a little bit. Go ahead and pull our servo out. We do have a decent number servo for just normal everyday driving. If you're gonna want to make this into a race transmission, you're gonna want to go with a bigger servo, but we do have a, what do we got, 694. It's decent enough. So we got our servo here, got the inner piston, spring, pin. I'm going to go ahead and keep this so we can put the Teflon rings on here to help seal that bore up better, and our return spring here. $13 millimeters on our pump. $13 millimeters on our pan. BR good. We got a good number on our valve body. 13 millimeters on the governor. Good, we got the right governor in it. Everything's looking good. Go ahead and take your filter off. It's got the aftermarket lockup solenoid on it, so 13 millimeters on these nuts. If it was a regular solenoid, you wouldn't have that. You would just have 10 millimeter bolts. that we're going in there and holding that in. So we got 13 studs here also. We could just leave those in the case if we wanted to. On all the valve body bolts. You can just leave that tube in the valve body. Really no need to take it out. Come on. There you go. Usually these accumulators are worn out. So they will get replaced. Our separator plate. S linkage for our manual valve. Take your accumulators and this pin and see how that wobbles. It's not horrible, but any kind of wear is not good right there. Same goes for the other pin. This one's pretty tight, but I'm going to replace it anyway. We'll get rid of this Teflon ring and put a rubber ring on it. 3 check balls in your valve body. It does not appear that anybody has put a shift kit in here. So that's kind of good. $10mm on your center support. There's no need to take that part mechanism out of there unless you just want to. And you can get a pry bar right up in between here, pop your pump out. $13mm on your pump. You're going to want to pop that snap ring out of there, take your main boost valve out and your reverse boost valve. You want at least a 287 on the reverse, at least a 471 on your main. If you're going to make it a race, you can go larger than that, but I wouldn't go larger than that if you're going to make it an everyday. It's a little scored up here, but I think we can flat stone that out. If you look right here on your stator tube, see those marks right there? That thing is about half eat through, so it's going to need a stator tube. You can just take these bolts out back here, press it out, press a new one in. Alright, it's got the 8 vein original pump. We're going to change this out to a 10 vein. Also, one thing to look at on here, if it had the 10 vein, is see all those shiny spots right there? That bluing is just about gone, and once it gets to that point, these things eat out real quick. So this slide and rotor kit would have been needed to be put in anyway. So we're going to change that out. Here's our selective washer. Pull this plate out. Pull our snap ring out. Our drum will come out now with our 4-drive clutches. And they are a little burned. On your ring gear here, and look at these splines, make sure that they're not eat up. And look in here on the teeth and make sure they're not pitted. Everything looks okay there. Bearing feels okay. Washer looks pretty good. Snap ring back here, pull that off. Our input shaft will come out. Make sure we're not all scored up where the bushings ride. Our splines look okay out here. Planet, our sprag is holding. Turning counterclockwise, locking clockwise. You'll want to check your pinions here. Make sure that these washers aren't too worn out. You don't want too much play this way. You don't want no wobble. Check your sun gear for pitting. Take your pinions and try to move them back and forth that way. Make sure that they feel okay, they don't feel rough. Sprag surface is okay. We're going to put a bushing kit in, so it really doesn't matter what our bushings look like. I always put new sprags also, so to take this drum apart, you can press down right here, take the snap ring out, your race will come out with your sprag and your piston will come out. This looked okay. Make sure that where the teeth go out here is not all eat up. Where sealing rings go is not all eat up. It looks like somebody's put a bushing kit in this thing, because these bushings look really nice. We may not have to put a bushing kit in it. Right. Pop your snap ring off. Return spring in our piston. And then there's a bevel snap ring. And pull that out. See if we can get it out of here without hitting the camera. Alright, try to pull as straightly as possible. If there's any debris in there from planetaries being torn up, it's going to make it exponentially harder to get that out of there. These come out tight as it is. And it is wanting to be a pain, of course. Looks like at some point in the past there was a planetary that came apart because it's a little rough in there. There we go. Alright. Make sure where your rings go it's not too much play. Not ring cut up in here. Boy, all these bushings look really nice. Alright, we got thrust washer. We'll pull our drum assemblies out now. And my band got a little stuck. Drum assembly. Make sure not ring cut up in here. A little discolored, but not bad. Alright, pull your snap ring off of here. Your return spring. There's a cage down here it sits in, and then your piston will come out. Thrust washer. Make sure there's no cracks around down inside of here. Everything looks okay there. There. Alright, pull your snap ring out, your return spring and your piston will come out. Make sure your wavy plate is not cracked. A little discolored. Starting to flake a little bit. Adjustment washer. Our band is a little burnt. Alright, snap ring on your ring gear in there. Holds it to the output shaft. You got washer, another washer, check your bushing, hub, ring. Alright, looks like we may have a problem right here on our planet. This bearing goes between the ring gear and the planet. See if we can get our planet out of here. Alright, we got our sun gear. This one really likes to pit, so pay close attention to it. Your surface here. Bearing and race. These are real bad about the pinions being worn. And so it looks like somebody's put new washers in here. So that's all in good shape. Next thing to check is your sun shell. This has already got the hardened sun shell in it, so you can leave this together if you wanted to. Bushing looks nice, so we don't have to do anything there, but if you want to take it out, use your snap ring and it slides off. Alright, thrust washer. This one's looking pretty worn, so we need a thrust washer here. There's a bevel snap ring. Looks okay. Alright, now this is not a must-have, but it sure makes life a lot easier as a tool to take this center support out and put it in. It worked for both the 125 and the 200. Just put this down in there. Got these knobs right there. You just would push this in, turn that to where it's over here, and then you can pull it out. Like so. Alright, pull your snap ring off. Your retainer, your cushion, or your return ring, whatever you want to call it. Piston comes out. Everything looks good there. Make sure our surface is okay here. Still pretty good, even though that washer was looking pretty rough. And our planet that we were looking at before was a little rough coming out. Look real close at these splines. Make sure that they're not twisted. We may be putting a planet in this anyway. I have to get this all cleaned up and get a good look at it. There's another snap ring down in there. And our output shaft assembly is coming out. And the clutches are all coming apart. replace this sprag assembly also. So what was it? Turning counterclockwise, locking clockwise again. Sprag out. Depending on what you had, there's a bearing style and a washer style. This one has the bearing. And check your pinions again. Here again, somebody's put new washers in there. Make sure our bearing is turning nice and free. Washer and a bearing here. Looks like we're going to be putting a washer kit in it. Make sure our bearing's okay. Here again, you're going to want to check all of these splines, these teeth, where your governor rides. Looks good, so everything's good there. The case is empty. Got to try to get that speedometer gear out of there. And let's see, I guess that's it. We'll be putting LS kit, which is clutches and paper rubber ring seals, clutches. We're going to need a washer kit, filter. I think we're okay with the bushings. We are going to change out the pump bushing. Always change it out no matter what. Band. Check our valves in our pump. Our 10 vein rotor kit. Accumulators. Hope I ain't forgetting anything. If you're going to want to make this a racing transmission, you can dual feed your reverse clutch, and on the Patreon side I'll go through all that. But if you're going to do a dual feed, you're going to want to change out your forward drum to a billet drum. I guess that's it. Oh, on your pump, on your rings, and these things, the early style, I don't know if you'll still see them, but the early ones were not hardened, and if you bounced them, they wouldn't, or if you dropped them, they wouldn't bounce, they would crack. So you would want to check your rings at the bare minimum and make sure that they don't break when you do that, and that they do bounce. I guess that's about it. Alright, we'll catch you on the rebuild side.